Calling the meeting to order, but before I ask for a review of the meeting minutes of March 4th, a couple of our members have passed. Perry Waltz, Terry Mishu, a couple weeks ago, and on my desk, Terry Mishu was here for 9 years, and Perry Waltz for 9 years. Always great to see them. They always had good insight, good comments, good questions. Terry especially tried to lighten the meeting, which was absolutely fabulous to have them. And it's cool to see people giving their time, putting back into their community. We all did baseball with Paul Carney. We all did football with Pete Cooper. And to see these guys dedicate for 9 years their volunteer, their service with this board, I'd like to thank them. And I'm sure the town of Fairfield will thank them as well. Moving on, I'd call for meeting minutes of March 4th, 2024. Have you all had a chance to review those? I'd take a motion. Motion to accept the motion. Thank you.
Second.
Second.
So which alternate is voting tonight on your?
I don't know which alternate is voting tonight. You both came at the same time, am I correct? Monica?
Yes, we were both.
Yeah. And does either one of you want to move up to a full-time board position?
I would not mind.
I wouldn't either, so it's really...
I guess we're going to toss a coin, I guess. And again, moving forward, toss a coin.
What do you want, a coin?
Yeah.
Call it, Monica.
Monica, call it
Heads.
heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. As you see, we do things very diplomatically. You know.
So you're in the middle of the vote, and now Monica will also be a voting member, so,
Very good.
okay? I didn't catch everybody's vote.
Thank you. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting those meeting minutes? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The next item on our agenda, public hearings. A public hearing, Cream Cheesy Ice Cream Stand, conditional use permit application at 5 Pipe Drive. For a proposed ice cream stand, 14 feet by 16 feet, identified as tax map 26, lot 6B, zoned commercial. And this is public hearing right now. So who is here for Cream Cheesy tonight? Thank you, Jeff.
Good evening. Bring this here so the camera can zoom on this. Would you like a little explanation of what's going on, and
Absolutely.
then we can have the public hearing?
Thank you.
This is, as you said, on Pike Street, which is on the Western Avenue just before the interstate. And right there now is the big yellow dispensary. It's called the Cheese House. So Mr. Thomas is the owner here, and what he'd like to do is add a small ice cream stand that would operate seasonally and be on site just temporarily during the summer. It'll be located out closer to the intersection. It will feature sewer and water, public water and sewer, be tied into the existing sewer system from the dispensary for their wastewater. That's pretty much it. The other thing is they are adding some more parking. I guess at times, the parking lot that we have there was undersized, and he believes he needs more parking. And also with the addition of the ice cream stand, that will allow or create additional parking demand.
Very good. Public hearing, any comments from the crowd? Anybody in the audience have any questions about this proposal?
I have a question in regards to expanding the parking lot. Are you going to create a pathway to the ice cream stand? Because the way it looks now, I can just envision people parking on Pike Drive, or even parking maybe even on the corner of Western Avenue and Pike Drive because it's so close to Western Avenue?
Right, there's quite a ditch along the road, and it's set back. So, yeah, the intent is to have them park on site, and I don't know how you stop somebody from parking on Pike Street, other than it'll be
Yeah.
a ditch they have to walk through to get there.
Okay.
We are in public hearing, so we would like any comments from Zoom or the public. Under new business, our board will get to ask questions as we vote for that. Any questions or comments from the public? Any from Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
Very good, thank you. Very good, Jeff, thank you. Next public hearing, and again, public hearings is questions or comments, abutters, that type thing. And then when we get into new business, the board gets to drill some questions. So the next public hearing is Backwoods Service LLC conditional use permit application at 105 Martin Stream Road for a proposed home vehicle service garage business in an existing garage identified as tax map 6, lot 33-3, and that's zoned rural.
Thank you very much. I didn't come prepared with a nice board like he did. I apologize. So he's going to be ever so kind.
Wait a
to-
minute, you don't have
to help
posters and
me.
things? Come on. We're expecting.
I thought I was doing good just having this, actual site plan. I'm Kelsey McEwen. This is my husband, Devin McEwen. Devin has asked me to represent him in the business case of Backwoods Services. I'll do a little intro of what we're looking to do.
Okay.
On our home property, there's a 3,000 square foot garage already on site. And my husband's been a mechanic for going on 15 years now, and he would like to run a small auto garage out of our home garage. Just basic auto repair, brakes, rotors, basic maintenance. There's no painting, as we don't have a paint booth. Just a small home business to look to support our family.
Very good. Again, we're in public hearing, questions from the public or on Zoom. Again, these notices go out to your abutters, and we want to hear if there's issues from abutters. Hearing nothing or seeing nothing, I'll wait just a minute in case we get something from Zoom.
Nobody on Zoom.
Nobody on Zoom, thank you. 105 Martin Stream, what is it near out there?
So you have to go hit on it's not really near anything necessarily.
That's a good thing.
You go past the intersection of 6 Rod Road,
Yep.
10 Lots Road, and we're probably 2 miles down on the left.
Okay, very
Yep.
good.
Pretty
Thank you.
wooded area that we have. As you can see there, I put pictures in the proposal that there's quite a bit of vegetation between all of our neighbors. We're pretty secluded in that little area that we have.
Good. Very good. I'll ask one more time. Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, we'll get back to you shortly under new business. Item 4 on our agenda, unfinished business. Tonight, we have none. Item 5, under new business. Told you we'd get there. Brad Thomas, Cream Cheesy Ice Cream Stand, conditional use permit application, proposed addition 14 by 16 ice cream stand, 5 Pike Drive, identified as tax map 26, lot 6-B, zoned commercial. Discussion and decision. Jeff, welcome back.
Thank you.
New business. Any questions about this application from our board?
I don't. The only concern I would have is parking, car parking on Pike Road. I don't know if they put no parking signs up there and have the police watch it.
Yeah.
That might want to be a requirement.
That's what I was going to suggest as well. I think what you brought up, Monica, was a really good point. I mean, people are going to take the shortest path possible.
Yes.
And Pike Drive has a lot of larger vehicles coming and going from it. So I think having something that we can, as a town, kind of fall back on to say this isn't allowed for parking on Pike Drive, I think is certainly a good thing for us to make a condition of approval. I think ultimately the town is going to have to put up those signs, but we could make it a condition of approval that the applicant pay the cost of
That's something
installing
Bruce
those.
would actually, Bruce would know that, right? Well, the towns are putting them.
Right, we have a letter here from Bruce Williams, our highway department guy. That letter says, "Pike Drive is a private road. I have no jurisdiction of vehicle travel on this road. Western Avenue, however, is an MDOT road. The location of Pike Drive falls within the urban compact zone, giving myself the right to approve or deny added traffic entry to and from Pike Road. I would like to see an anticipated traffic count as well as an impact study from a licensed engineer on this matter, mainly due to the northbound off-ramp 95 traffic being in such close proximity to Pike Drive. I noticed in your application, I think there was some discussion about maximum 50 trips per day. Is that what you had said, Jeff?
I'd have to look at my narrative, but I think it relatively will be, a small impact, and that is a major road. Western Avenue is able to accept and discharge a lot of traffic very smoothly. I understand the Public Works Director's concern about traffic turning off of the interstate ramp, but I believe it certainly is going to be, the vehicles there will be able to accelerate faster than some of the large trucks that are currently using Pike Drive. Certainly the folks who know the area understand that Pike Drive is busy. Also, as they pull off the interstate, there's nothing to prevent them seeing a congregation of people there at the Cheese House. It's kind of an attention getter. And so they'll see something going on. I believe putting signs on the road would be a reasonable thing to do, no parking here to corner or something like that. But as Mr. Kenny said, it would be difficult we'd have to get some sort of easement from the town if we were to install them. So if the town were to install them, do the appropriate dig safe clearing, I think that would be acceptable.
I forgot that was a public road, or a private road.
Private road.
So I don't think we as a community, as long as it's
Say
not,
anything.
people aren't parking on Western Avenue, I think it's very unlikely somebody's going to park on Western Avenue to get ice cream here.
Yep.
I think if people are parking on the private road, that's something that the private road owners are going to have to deal with the property owner directly. So I don't think we have the right to tell them to put no parking signs on the private road. Certainly, if you want to work with the road owner and do that, or put them on your property facing the road, so be it. I think it'd probably be a good idea, but
We're increasing the parking lot tremendously all the way around the building.
How many lots are you increasing, Jeff?
If I'll increase what he has on there, we can do more than that. We have all the way in the back, so
Yeah.
parking there.
17.
Very good. Okay.
why is the proposed building so far away from the parking lot? It doesn't show any sort of access way up to the building.
Right,
It's going to be, there's going to be picnic tables and places out there for people to sit and eat their ice cream. That's all going to be beamed out there in front of it there. And the parking will be down from that.
We can't hear it.
And down in the back.
You'll have to come up to the microphone.
Come to the mic, please. Go ahead and repeat that if you would.
In front of the ice cream will be all the picnic tables and places for everybody to sit and eat their ice cream. Then the parking starts a little farther, is going to go all the way around the building. Down in the back even is where we're going to put all the employee parking now instead of in the regular spaces. And on both sides, we're going to increase the parking all the way down because there's plenty of room for parking on the left side of the building all the way around to the back and all the way in the back. So we are increasing all of that just to make sure that nobody parks out on any roads or anything.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from our board for this applicant?
Does this require, I mean, this may be a dumb question, but
We take those.
is this any sort of cannabis business at all modification?
No, not at all, not one bit, completely.
Okay. So this doesn't require any sort of cannabis licensure?
No, not at all.
Modifications?
Right.
Okay.
Now, I got, yeah, I got another stupid question. Because it is a cannabis business, and they have an ice cream place beside it, does that affect children being around the cannabis building at all?
No, they have Dairy Queens right next door to them and all things like that. It's schools, I think, that they're more interested in.
Okay. I just
Yeah,
checking.
I know that there's setbacks from like daycares and schools,
Yeah.
but I don't believe there's anything for restaurants.
I welcome businesses.
I also believe there was a new state law that goes into effect January that actually allows children to go into cannabis retail shops now. That will go, it hasn't gone into some rulemaking right now. But
When
that's-
accompanied by an adult.
Right, when accompanied by an adult. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from our board about this applicant?
It was stated by Jeff that there would be public water. Is that the intent here?
Yes.
It has well water.
Oh, it does? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's well water and city sewer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It is, yeah, well water and city sewer.
I just got the water test too today, and it was perfect.
Good. Anything else from our board?
Will there be any additional lighting? What are the hours of operation for this facility? Because there's no lighting over in that area currently.
There'll be all additional lighting installed. There'll be lighting installed, and the hours will probably be 8 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night.
Okay. The plans don't appear to reflect any additional lighting being added.
I'm sorry, we didn't draw those in, but we're going to light it up like daylight there.
Yeah. Fortunately, when it's open during the summer, it's light till 9 o'clock at night, so the lights won't be that obtrusive during normal operating hours, I don't think.
When, outside of normal operating hours, will the lights be turned off?
I keep them on all night myself, just for security there.
Around the marijuana facility.
Everywhere, yeah, I keep everything on. And I'm always adding more. I'm always adding more lights, if you noticed it. Can't get enough lights. The more lights, they feel secure. The more I light it up, the more secure it seems on that corner.
Anything else from our board?
Will there be any new signage added?
It'll be a sign on the building that says cream cheesies and ice cream, gourmet by the scoop.
Okay, so
But,
no sign out on Western Avenue?
No, I don't have any signs out there, no.
Okay.
Very good. Anything else, Max?
Nope.
Good questions.
Thank you.
Hearing no other questions or comments, I'd call for a vote. Take a motion.
We should review.
Yeah, we have to do
Finding of fact. I knew you'd take me there. Finding of facts. I am going to skip the non-applicable items on that list. The Cheese House, Cream Cheesy Ice Cream Stand, 5 Pike Drive, expansion, new structure, ice cream, 14 by 16 stand with additional parking for ice cream shop. Tax map 26, lot 6B. A site plan to scale showing at minimum location of existing and proposed structures, distance from lot lines, water bodies, water supply, and sewage disposal facilities, submitted to the planning board with the application, sheet CO-1. Existing topographical contours are shown on the site plan. Proposed grading and contour intervals not greater than 5 feet as shown on the site plan. Site improvements as shown on the site plan, additional parking and ice cream stand. Pedestrian and vehicle travel ways and parking areas. Travel ways are shown on the site plan, existing entrance shown. Landscaping and buffer areas as currently existing, no changes proposed. Stormwater and erosion control structures as shown on the site plan. Existing water, existing sewer and power lines, and outside installations of any machinery or materials. New water and sewer lines connecting to existing utilities and electrical service will provide power to the building. An estimate of vehicle trips per day to be generated by the development and any modifications to the public roads which may be necessary to absorb the traffic as described on the application, Exhibit B 7.4, additional trips generated per hour for the ice cream stand. A list of names and addresses of all landowners within 200 feet of the property boundaries submitted with the application. Letters to abutters were mailed on May 24th, 2024, notifying of tonight's public hearing on the application via a Zoom and meetings at 61 Water Street. A legal notice was placed in the Morning Sentinel on Sunday, May 26, 2024. Analysis of potential environmental impacts, including effects on surface and groundwater bodies, air quality, and wildlife resources, if any, potentially negative impacts are identified. A management strategy consists with the performance standards of the ordinance and the state and federal regulations must be prepared by a qualified engineer, as shown on the site plan by A.E. Hodgson Engineering. Erosion control plan prepared by a registered professional engineer. Exhibit A, site plan erosion control methods will be used during the construction with silt fencing and bark mulch berms. A stormwater management plan prepared by a registered professional engineer. Slight parking expansion, stormwater, see site plan Exhibit A. Findings. The development will not create unsafe or unhealthy conditions within the neighborhood in which it is located and shall not create or exacerbate effects upon neighboring properties. This proposed addition of an ice cream stand will not create or exacerbate effects on neighboring properties. Item 2, the development will not create or add to traffic congestion at or below level D of service as defined and will not create unsafe traffic movements on public roads. As described in the application, the proposed expansion will not result in the creation of traffic congestion to the surrounding area. The development 3 will not result in undue reduction of air or water quality or wildlife habitat and will not cause undue flooding or soil erosion. The proposed project will not result in the reduction of air or water quality or wildlife habitat and will not cause undue flooding or soil erosion. Item 4, the development will, to the greatest extent feasible, preserve historic, prehistoric, or archaeological resources. There is no known identified historic or prehistoric or archaeological resources on this site. Item 5, the development will not cause an undue strain on public facilities or services, including public roads, water supply, sewer disposal, solid waste systems, police, educational, or other services. The project will not cause an undue strain on public facilities or services. Item 6, the applicant has sufficient financial and technical capacity to complete the development. The applicant, Brad Thomas, owns the Cheese House LLC and has the financial capacity to complete this project. Item 7, the development is consistent with the Fairfield Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with state and federal laws, as well as ordinances, rules, and regulations of the town, including the performance standards of the land use ordinance, unless the board acts to waive said standards. The business expansion of the ice cream stand is consistent with Fairfield Comprehensive Plan and is a designated growth area in the commercial land use district. Any conditions of approval from our board? Hearing none. Based on the facts and conclusions on the June 3rd, 24 Planning Board voted to approve with or without conditions and without waivers your conditional use application of cream cheesy ice cream stand application. I now take a motion.
Make a motion to accept the application.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd call for a vote. All those in favor? Thank you.
Paperwork to you tomorrow?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be over for an ice cream.
That was good.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, new business, item B, Devon and Kelsey McEwen, Backwoods Services LLC, conditional use permit application for a proposed vehicle service garage inside the existing garage at their home at 105 Martin Stream Road, identified as tax map 6, lot 33-3, zoned rural. Discussion and decision. Discussion. Any questions or comments to this applicant?
I didn't see anything that stuck out to me. I wish him the best.
Was this a commercial repair shop previously?
It was not. It was actually a sign business that had been in business for 20-plus years. So there's already a signpost next to the road. It was already a pre-existing structure and an actual business prior to.
Do you plan on being a licensed,
State inspector.
nope, I know that's.
Dealership?
Dealership?
No.
Okay.
State inspector?
State inspection, yes, that's the goal to get there, so.
Gotcha. Any other questions or comments from our board on this applicant?
I would just say, I see a lot of these, it's pretty well done.
Thank you.
Given, I see a lot of these done by professional engineers that aren't as well done, so.
Appreciate that, Eddie.
I will move on to finding of fact if there's no other discussions from the board. Conditional use, finding of fact.
Sit down if they'd like.
Oh, have a seat while I
Okay,
read it.
thank you.
Enjoy it. Devon McEwen, Backwoods Services LLC, 105 Martin Stream Road, existing garage to be used for home service garage business, tax map 6, lot 33-3. I'm going to skip the items that are not applicable. A site plan showing at a minimum the location of existing and proposed structures and distances from lot lines, water bodies, and water supply and sewage disposal facilities submitted to the planning board with application, existing conditions. Site improvements, no site improvements planned, no exterior changes. Pedestrian and vehicle travelways and parking, travelways as shown on the plan, existing entrance and parking area as shown. Landscaping and buffer areas as currently existing, no changes proposed. An estimate of vehicle trips per day to be generated by the development and any modification to the public roads which may be necessary to absorb traffic as described in the application, 10 trips per day. A list of names of addresses of landowners within 200 feet of the property submitted with the application. Letters to abutters were mailed on May 24th, 2024, notifying of tonight's public hearing on the application via a Zoom meeting or at 61 Water Street here in Fairfield. A legal notice was placed in the Morning Sentinel on Sunday, May 26, 2024. A statement from the Public Works Director that any proposed improvements to the road are adequate and acceptable. Letter in application, Director of Public Works advises the applicant that Martin Stream Road is a heavy load limited, and this is enforced with no variances.
That's in the spring, when the
Yep.
roads are posted.
Posted, that's correct,
Yeah.
normal posted roads. A statement regarding the use, storage, and disposal of any dangerous, toxic, special, or hazardous waste, whether solid, liquid, or gaseous, and special measures available to deal with them in appropriate fashion. Waste oil will be contained in a 55-gallon drum and properly removed by a licensed waste oil transporter if the quantity is over the allowed department motor vehicle limit to transport over the road. Findings. The developer will not create an unsafe or unhealthy conditions within the neighborhood in which it is located and shall not create or exacerbate effects upon neighboring properties. This proposed home business service garage at 105 Martin Stream Road is an already existing building and is is in compliance with the requirements of the district. No accumulation of outside materials or junk or vehicle pieces or parts thereof. The development will not create or add to traffic congestion at or below level D of service as defined, and will not create unsafe traffic movement on public roads. As described in the application, the proposed service garage will result in the creation of 10 additional trips of traffic per day to the surrounding area. The development will not result in undue reduction of air or water quality or wildlife habitat, and will not cause undue flooding or soil erosion. The proposed service garage will not result in the reduction of air or water quality or wildlife habitat, and will not cause undue flooding or soil erosion. The structure already exists, and the business will occur inside the garage. The development will, to the greatest extent feasible, preserve historic, prehistoric, or archaeological resources. There are no known identified historic, prehistoric, or archaeological resources on that site. The development will not cause an undue strain on public facilities or services, including public roads, water supply, sewage disposal, solid waste systems, police, educational, or other services. The project will not cause an undue strain on public facilities or services. The project will not utilize water or sewer system. The applicant has sufficient financial and technical capacity to complete the development. The applicant owns the property and has no construction is planned for the business use in his already existing building. The development is consistent with Fairfield's comprehensive plan and in compliance with the state and federal law, and will at all, and as well as all ordinances, rules, and regulations of the town, including the performance standards of the land use ordinance, unless the board acts to waive said standards. The business expansion is consistent with the Fairfield Comprehensive Plan in a designated growth area in the rural residential zone.
That should say rural zone.
Oh, okay.
Residential. Sorry.
Based on the facts and conclusions, June 3rd, 2024, the planning board voted to approve without conditions and without waivers. Any questions or comments from our board? Hearing none, I would take a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the application.
Thank you. Have a motion?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd call for a vote. All those in favor? You're on.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Big work tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yep. Come in.
Item C, revision of the Fairfield Land Use Ordinance to correct some spelling errors and references, and to add required density bonus language to multifamily units discussion and decision.
So we did have our ordinance reviewed by the state, and there was one sentence we omitted in error, and so that is the addendum that I've given you. So there were a few spelling errors. Our chart needed to be corrected. Some hours of the noise hours we had incorrect. And then page 93, under section 914, affordable housing, B, multifamily dwelling units. We need to allow the density bonus in that language, and we had left it out in error. So those are the proposed changes.
Okay.
And so the town council would like a vote from the planning board if they're in favor of making those changes.
Now, one could say that we left those out on purpose to see if they were paying attention. Okay. So now that
They were.
Okay. Now that we know that everybody's paying attention, we put that out there on purpose, maybe.
Sounds good to me.
That's my story. So these minor changes, I take a motion. This is further discussion.
Make a motion to accept them.
Motion to accept, thank you.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I would call for a vote. All those in favor? Passes, thank you.
Thank you.
tell I'm moving right along because I'm going fishing, but anyway, that's what's on the agenda. Items by the public, item 6. Anything by the public?
I don't know if there's any on Zoom.
There was no one on.
Okay.
No one there.
Thank you.
He's dozing off back there. Items by the clerk.
Let's see if I had anything on my... Nope, just the changes to the ordinance that the town council wanted you guys to review it before they took action. So, no other items at this time.
Okay. Items by members. Am I supposed to go to the council to talk about moratoriums on pot farms and...
No, I think we had that discussion at our last meeting. It was the memo from Michelle.
Right.
And so in my meeting minutes, I had put that the discussion from the board is that you felt no additional regulations were needed at this time. I think they wanted to set criteria on the amount, the number of businesses allowed, and it was the consensus of the board that you didn't want to set a number because there's no applications that have come in for several years now from those businesses.
Yeah, and that's on the pot businesses. And obviously, this board kept the Main Street zone closed to those businesses as well, which was very good. I'm glad we're not seeing these up and down next to the pizza shop. And the second item was the moratorium on solar farms.
Right.
I would speak to that if the board wanted to discuss that, and we had talked about it as a board, that the solar farms, if they come, their revenue that you send a tax bill to, with no expenses to the town. I would speak to that if they're still looking, if we would put a moratorium on solar farms in Fairfield.
I haven't heard back that they wanted additional input on it.
And what's the flavor of our board since we're on this, solar farms? Anything? Some people hate it.
There's responsible development of solar, and there's irresponsible development of solar. And I think us as a board, as solar projects come in front of us, we have the opportunity to question whether the development in a particular site is a responsible development in the best interest of the community. I think we have a tremendous amount of land in Fairfield that will be challenged for any sort of use in the future, given substantial contamination via PFAS. And I think that, at least in my opinion, that's a good opportunity to utilize that land in a way that will benefit the community as a whole. But clear-cutting forests that could be used for development of residential properties or along major highways throughout the community that are primed for commercial development, I think is irresponsible development of solar that could harm our community in the long run.
Anything else? That's a good point. Thank you.
I personally have a hard time telling landowners what they can do with their land if it's within the land use ordinance. I'd be very upset if somebody tried to tell me I could do something that was within the ordinance. That's my opinion.
Sure.
I don't think we know, supposedly the batteries, I guess, whatever they are, for the solar panels last 25 years. How we're going to dispose of them, I don't know if anyone knows that. We can't predict the future.
Solar farms, since we started taking applications, have really come a long ways. They're now putting panels on the backside of those panels for light reflection off the snow. They're picking up 20% there. There's a lot of automated systems now that follow the sun all day, dump the snow off in the morning, so they're getting more efficient. The panels themselves are getting much more efficient. And there's also a demand for recycling panels. There's companies that take these panels, recycle them, reuse them, and ship them back out there. There's companies, and at decommissioning, there was always a fear at decommissioning that here's 100 acres of solar panels, and the company goes belly up and bails. And what we found in the decommissioning and the documents that are submitted for our solar farms is the salvage rights on the decommissioning of those solar farms is about 2 times of what it costs to remove it. So as you look at decommissioning, and they were saying one farm up here It was $32,000 to decommission it, take the fences out, take the panels. But they said there was like $90,000 worth of copper, aluminum, iron, and reselling and recycling panels. So as long as the value on your property exceeds what it's going to cost to remove it, then a junkie will show up at any time and take those 1.5-inch copper lines that are buried 2 feet underground. Copper's increasing value, and aluminum as well. And the framing for these things is recycled and reused. So, and your point, Fairfield probably has 10,000 acres of contaminated property that can't be used for anything other than maybe tall fences to keep the deer out and solar panels to pay a revenue on a dirt lease to a landowner. Fairfield is prime for such a thing because of the contaminated properties, which can't be used for a lot of other things. And we'd like to encourage solar to come on these properties to keep our property values up. If there's a stream of income on a dirt lease property that can't be used for anything else, that's how you value the property, comparable sales or stream of income.
Is there any way that the state can step in and say they're gonna get the profit off the solar panels like they did with marijuana? Remember originally the towns were gonna get all the sales, the state stepped in and took it all. Could they do that on the solar panels, larger?
As it sets now, depending on the solar program, the smaller programs, less than 15 acres now, the state is jurisdictional in promoting those through CMP. And
We don't get anything out of it. The town doesn't really.
no, the town sends a tax bill. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, do they share the tax bill? Is that on solar as well?
On the tax revenue?
Yes.
So some of them are, right, they apply for an exemption, like a homestead exemption, but it's for solar, if
Right.
they're a smaller field. But I think the larger ones do pay taxes.
Right.
And, yeah, and that's not there's a time limit on that, too.
Correct.
So consequently, there is an exemption that happens for a set amount of time, and then the tax revenue comes back
Right.
after that. So I think some of the solar farms that have popped up over the last, 5 to 7 years, towns are now starting to see a revenue stream from them.
Right.
It just took that long.
It did. It
Right.
took that long, but that was a incentive program that the state put in place. So.
A lot of those programs that they initially, that the PUC initially was going to bid out and regulate, those all failed miserably. The auction that the PUC was going to do to solar companies to bid these things, that's gone. Most of them ended up at a $1,750 per usable acre per year as a revenue stream to the dirt lease owner. But again, if you've got property like we do that can't be used for anything else, we wouldn't want a moratorium maybe on solar farms. We'd want to promote an income stream to the landowners so that the landowners can pay their tax bills. And then again, the town can send a tax bill to the value of those solar panels. On 100 acres, there's like $20 million worth of panels on there. So that's tax revenue going to the town at no expense to the town. No kids in school, no streets to plow, no lights to turn on. So it's a good revenue stream to promote that. So to ask for a moratorium on those, where we have so many acres that are unusable for anything else, would be counterproductive, I believe. And your points are well taken. I hope that something happens to these landowners that can't use their property for anything else right now. Items by members is where we are right now. Anything else?
Have you heard anything about the Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes, they're coming forward in July. They just completed the traffic movement permit with DOT. That's what the holdup was. So they want to make sure they get their answer from DOT before they come to you.
Good.
So they're coming back for final.
In July.
Very good.
Right. That's what they've told me,
Yeah.
their engineer.
I mean, that's great. The town
Oh, yeah.
have one of those.
We need businesses.
Absolutely. Jobs and taxes is the name of that game.
Nicole, I would just
Cleans up an
encourage
area.
you to continue to drive home the point of get their utilities done now.
Now, because the road, I
road.
noticed they had scraped up some of the pavement at the other, on the Waterville line. Okay,
They'll run out of time very quickly.
Yeah,
okay,
because then there'll be a moratorium.
right.
Now, are they taking an existing sewer tap, or are they running new?
So the sewer tap is actually on their property. It
Okay.
runs from the roads behind down to Main Street, so they can tap into sewer there, but what the utility that they can't tap into is water on
Gotcha.
their property. They need to reach into the public right-of-way. So
Gotcha.
that's the one they need to pay attention to.
Okay.
So I will let the engineer know again tomorrow that he needs to move quickly because they're already halfway up Main Street.
Right.
Stripping right now.
Timing-wise, does that meet July, that you could allow a tap over there? Oh, that's the DOT. That's them, their schedule.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So if that road gets paved over by DOT, then they won't let anybody cut into that road for a while.
Are they eyeing the back street behind them? There must be water on that street that they could tap if they needed to?
No, because there's a railroad track there,
Okay,
and they would need
okay.
approval from the rail
To
to
get
go
underneath there.
underneath the rail, which I don't think they would never allow.
No.
So no, that's not an option.
Okay,
So I'll reach out to him tomorrow.
that would be great. We hate to see that. We'd like to see them open and not waiting for water. Absolutely. Anything else? I would call for adjournment. Motion.
Motion to close, adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that was great.